Hello everyone, welcome to Lockdown Seaswell. Today we talk about China's Qianlong Emperor and the US President George Washington. Qianlong Emperor is one of China's well-known emperors, and he enjoyed the fame of Kang Qian, prime time of Qing dynasty. And his grandfather, Kangxi Emperor, had been regarded as one of the greatest emperors in China. During Qianlong's reign, he published the Siku Quanshu, a collection of books compiled, the best encyclopedia at his time in the world. And domestic turmoils and rebellions were conquered, and the Xinjiang area was once again under China control and basically outlined China's territory today. He himself wrote about 40,000 poems, yet very few of them remain popular right now, and he carried out a severe policy on literary inquisition. He enjoyed his accomplishment and believed what he had done was perfect. He could be very outstanding in China's pseudo-society, yet totally ignorant the coming of a modern time, industrial revolution and domestic system and global trade. In the great upheavals of the world, China tended to be more isolated, backwarded, and lagged behind it. Like a huge vessel in the ocean, encountered the ferocious tropical storms one after another. With the defeat of the Opium War and the following territory cession and indemnity, China was in great perils. President Washington is the first U.S. president who won the respect not only in America, but also in the world. Under his leadership, the U.S. Continental Army, altogether with the French ally, that got through many excruciating challenges and hardships, defeated the formidable British Army and win American independence. After the war, Washington willingly returned to the civilian life at his plantation, and 6 years later, due to his great reputation, he was elected twice as the U.S. president with all the electoral votes, steering American domestic and foreign policy that made America a strong and prosperous union from a loose confederation. He insisted on his two terms of presidency for totally 8 years, denied any advice of a monarchy system in New York, and permanent in office. Set a very good example for U.S. democracy and world republics, and earned reverence from the future generation. Limited by history and tradition, American at his time failed in dealing with the issue of slavery. Yet, in his will, he said after his death, the 123 black slaves under his name would be freed. China's Qianlong Emperor and U.S. President Washington lived at the same time in history. They both passed away in the year of 1799. After Qianlong Emperor, China had another 6 emperors until the end of the Qing dynasty and the birth of Republic of China. Afterwards, China was bogged in domestic chaos of war, Japanese invasion, nationalist and communist civil war, and founding of a new China, and the recent 40-year reform and opening. For the past 200 years, and China has got through the drastic upheaval, and the time of Qianlong Emperor seemed a long time ago, and he was regarded as an emperor far away. Meanwhile, in America, after President Washington, U.S. government system has remained the same. Nothing great has changed. From Washington's first presidency to the incoming 46th president, the system lasted continuously like just one dynasty in China, except only one civil war in 1861 to 1865. All the rest of American wars were foreign wars, and from the original 13 colonies, the United States grew up as the sole superpower today, with East and West Coast, Alaska, and Hawaii. In the mind of American people, and the time of George Washington seemed just past not long a time ago. their births and their early lives. Qianlong Emperor was initially named Hongli, born on September 25th, 1711, at the family of a prince of Yongwang, the current Yonghe Gong. And his father was Yin Zhen, the future Yongzheng Emperor, the fourth son of Emperor Kangxi. His mother was Niu Gulu Shi. Qianlong was the fourth son of Yongzheng, and very talented, and was the most favorite grandson to Kangxi Emperor, and lived together with Kangxi for some time. It was said that his father's success to the crown was benefited from his being loved by his grandfather. So the second year after Yongzheng succeeded as emperor, he appointed the Qianlong as his heir and the crown prince. In 1335, at the age of 24, Qianlong succeeded as emperor and began his 60th year of reign. Before his coronation in 1727, he married his first wife, the future Queen Fu Shi. They two were in great love, and they had 2 sons and 2 daughters, with the son designated as the crown prince. Yet their children died very young, and in 1748, at the age of 37, the Queen Fu Shi died on the way back from the imperial inspection of Shandong province. Then Qianlong Emperor wrote a poem of lament, memorizing their past 20 years of deep love. The Queen's tenderness and kindness is a great sorrow and heartbroken. At his age of 80, Qianlong Emperor once again came to the Queen's tomb, recalling best times of their youth. Even at the age of 86, he still mourned the early passing away of the Queen. George Washington was born on February 22nd, 1732, in a family of a big plantation, Virginia State. His father was Augustine Washington. His mother was Mary Ball. His mother was the second marriage of his father, so George Washington had 2 half-brothers, Lawrence Washington and Augustine Washington. In 1743, when George Washington was 11, his father died, and he suspended his education and began to learn in land surveying and real estate purchase. Meanwhile, I expected one day to enlist in the army and earn his fame. His half-brother, Lawrence, received a very good education and studied abroad in England. They attended British wars against Spain in Caribbean and South America. Was granted as adjutant general by Virginia government. Lawrence's wife was from Fairfax family who obtained about 6 million acres of land and enjoyed the privilege of a noble family, to which George Washington had been often engaged and benefited his future in politics. Lawrence helped George get a position as a major officer in Virginia militia regiment. And though George had never been in the army before, in 1752, Lawrence died of pneumonia at the age of 34. At that time, the British and France were struggling for North America colony, especially the area of Ohio Valley between America and Canada. In October 1753, the British colony, the government decided to send ultimatum to the French occupied area 150 miles away. The French retreat from there or take fight. George Washington asked Virginia Governor Robert Dinwiddie for that mission, and he finished the task and returned home safely after the 77 days of trekking and perils. Then in the following years of the war against the French and the Indians, the Washington got more experience on battlefields and in the danger of life and death, and contributed to his future is the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army and defeating the formidable British Army. When the war was over, he returned to his civilian life and then was elected into the burgesses of Virginia Parliament. He later got to know the widow Martha Costas, and they got married on January 6, 1759. Martha brought him with 17,000 acres of land and more than 100 black slaves. George Washington and Martha didn't have their own children. Their accomplishments and influences. During the 60 years under his reign, Qianlong Emperor had been committed to the effective governance with both benevolence and severity, promotion of farming, and the elevation of social problems. He preferred a lavish lifestyle and had inspected the south of China for 6 times. Yet his policies kept sufficient finance, social stability, and progresses. To the distant provinces like Guizhou and Sichuan, he changed the local autonomy to more central governmental supervision. To the rebellions at Mongolia, Xinjiang, Tibet, carried out and tight control, he maintained the huge territory of the empire with the planting of the more productive sweet potato and corn, and China got more populous with its population reached to 300 million at the end of his rule from the initial 130 million. Sure, the corruption of government was rampant and emerged. The case of He Shen, the most abused and corrupt court official in China's history, with its own assets equal to 8 times of the national revenue. In 1793, for the sake of trade, and the British government sent all McCartney into China with hundreds of businessmen and 600 of boxes of advanced products and instruments for the emperor. It is due to the disagreement on the reception etiquette and the emperor's ignorance of the British industrial skills. China missed again the good chance to learn from the old. In 1796, Qianlong became a retired emperor and still holds the final say of the empire. Until February 7, 1799, he passed away at the age of 88 in a forbidden city, Beijing. After the British-France War in America, George Washington resigned from the military and returned to his plantation, Vernon, and in Virginia Parliament. For a civilian life, about 16 years. In 1775, the Second Continental Conference, Washington was assigned as the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army against the British and for independence. Washington accepted the position without any payment, except some expenses reimbursement. During the 8 years of the war, he witnessed the great victories and got through the crucible of frustrations. The triumph of Yorktown in October 1781, they guaranteed the final winning of the independence. During the 8 years of his presidency, he ushered the United States to a strong union. He admonished the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans the danger of party factions to America, avoided American involvement in European turmoils, remained the national interests. He refused the popular request for his taking the 3rd terms as president. He insisted that his performance on family life preserved his perfect image as a father of America. On December 14, 1799, George Washington passed away at his plantation Vernon at the age of 67. Qianlong Emperor was 21 years older than President Washington. They both passed away at the same year in 1799. Both had contributed greatly to their own country. Their different visions on governance revealed the cultural divergences between China and America. in the East and the West. Here comes the end of today's program, and thank you for your watching, and see you next time. Thank you, bye.